Zhu Yunwen bolts through the narrow mountain tunnel, Lone Song's blade flashing behind him as imperial torches sputter out. The crumbling emperor token clinks against his chest, echoing the promise he whispered to the fallen dynasty. Suddenly, twin shadows surge, demonic fire and Shaolin serenity, merging within his veins, igniting the rebirth of the Heaven Destroyer. Zhu Yunwen darts through the moonlit tunnel, Lone Song's blade flashing behind him as they plunge into Mount Tai's mist-cloaked summit. The Emperor token rattles in his palm, echoing the coup's betrayal, while whispers of the first heavenly demon and Shaolin's sixth patriarch coil within his veins. He snarls, "I'll shatter this cage," and the mountain trembles, heralding the birth of the Heaven Destroyer.
Zhu Yunwen collapses onto the cold floor, his vision blurring as the twin souls surge through his veins. He needs to harness this chaos before it consumes him, otherwise the mountain itself will echo his downfall. A distant howl pierces the silence, a pack of wolves drawn to the awakening power. He forces himself up, clutching the token like a lifeline, and dashes toward the cavern's exit, the wolves snapping at his heels. He leaps over a jagged outcrop, the token slipping, then catching on a protruding rock, tearing his shirt. The token clatters, sparking, and the wolves retreat, frightened by the sudden flash. He survives, but his cloak is torn, exposing the scar that marks his rebirth. Yunwen pauses at the edge of the cliff, his mind racing with the question of power that haunts every ruler. He wants to understand why the Hangul Emperor prized the token like a flower, why his own grandfather called it a blossom of destiny. The wind whistles through the ruins, drowning out any answer, while the ghost of his ancestor's voice mocks his curiosity. He clenches his fists, forcing the thought of flowers into his mind, then shouts the question into the void, demanding a truth that refuses to surface. The cliffside trembles, and a distant howl answers his doubt. What comes next changes everything.
Power is a flower, you fool.
They emerge at the mysterious little peak, a lone stone monument standing like a sentinel. Lone Song urges Yunwen to find the ancient marker, promising aid from the two loyal servants of the Hangul Emperor. Yunwen's spirit snaps. Despair threatens to drown him, but a surge of anger ignites his veins. He screams his anguish, the sound echoing off the cliffs, demanding a purpose beyond suffering. The wind whips his hair, the token slips from his grasp, shattering on the rock. Blood-red dust settles, marking his broken hope. The cost is his last tangible link to the throne, and a new, raw hunger for power.
Zhu Yunwen darts through Mount Tai's hidden pass, his heart a furnace of shattered crowns. Lone Song's blade flashes, carving a path to the mysterious little peak as the Emperor token thrums against Yunwen's skin. Voices of the first heavenly demon and Huaning roar within him, fusing demon fury with Shaolin serenity. He snarls, "I'll shatter fate," and the mountain trembles, heralding the birth of the Heaven Destroyer. Zhu Yunwen darts through the secret tunnel, heart pounding as Lone Song slams the hidden door behind them. The crumbling token clinks against his palm, whispering the Empire's curse. Suddenly, the first heavenly demon's roar erupts within his veins, while Huaning's serene chant steadies his breath. Yunwen watches the distant horizon, dreaming of slipping through any wall, any guard, like wind through reeds. He tells himself the throne must never learn the truth of his yearning, because the Empire's eyes stalk every whisper of rebellion. The notion of the strongest in Jianghu haunts him, a phantom that could shatter his chains. He clenches his fist around the Emperor token, demanding proof that such power exists. The token pulses faintly, reminding him that the promise of freedom costs blood he has yet to spill. The choice he makes now will echo through every future war.
Yunwen smashes the Emperor token against the stone, forcing a hidden panel to open and releasing a swirling vortex of twin souls that merge his longing with the first heavenly demon's fury. His heart trembles between the freedom of a butterfly and the weight of empire, gaining a power while risking the throne's wrath and the loss of his humanity. The vortex pulses, demanding a choice as the mountain quakes, leaving Yunwen poised on the brink of becoming a legend or shattering the empire forever. We survive on caffeine and new chapters. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and join the club. Zhu Yunwen's trembling hands crush the two glowing demon soul pills as the scalpel slices his ribs, blood mixing with arcane sigils. The first heavenly demon roars, shattering bone, while Huaning's serene chant threads through the chaos, sparking a storm of light and shadow inside his chest. A hidden master lunges, whispering control, and the vessel erupts. Heaven Destroyer is forged in a flash of terror and power. Zhu Yunwen's lab trembles as he slams the twin demon soul pills into his gaping wound. The first heavenly demons roar, colliding with Huaning's serene chant. The hidden master lunges, tendrils of dark intent lashing his mind, while crimson veins hiss like serpents. The final words reverberate through the vaulted chamber as the ritual reaches its climax. Zhu Yunwen feels a surge of power surge like a dragon lash across his spine, the Heaven Destroyer roaring to life. The demon retorts, reminding Zhu that every generation refines its art, inch by inch, surpassing the myths of the past. It points to the relentless evolution of martial prowess, insisting the present era eclipses any legend. Zhu's eyes flash. He refuses to accept being outdated. He lifts his chin, declaring he will become the unrivaled force once more, no matter the cost. The demon's words sting, but they also ignite a fire in his heart, forcing him to confront his own stagnation. The hidden master tightens his grip on the experiment, sensing the rising stakes. Desperation flares into a frantic command. "Can't you tell? Stop speaking the obvious and do something about it." The vessel shouts, fists pounding the metal slab, demanding the master intervene. The hidden figure remains motionless, the only sound the low growl of the heavenly demon failing to seize full control. The heavenly demon failed to take complete control of the master. The vessel mutters, dread curling in his gut. Clash of consciousnesses shouldn't happen. He feels his mind splinter, each thought a splintered glass shard. If the chaos continues, his sanity will shatter, leaving him a hollow shell. Zhu Yunwen grips the edge of the operating table, his mind racing.
The room trembles as the two auras, black and white, flare and collide, ripping the air apart. Zhu Yunwen's heart pounds like a war drum, each beat pushing the merged spirits to the brink. The hidden master steps back, eyes widening as the vortex widens, threatening to swallow everything. A cold hand brushes Zhu's spine, a phantom promise of absolute power or utter ruin. He steadies his breath, fists clenched around the shattered pill, ready to command the chaos that now roils inside him. What comes next changes everything.
Zhu Yunwen forces the forgotten sealing incantation, binding the raging heavenly demon and the black demonic essence into a single, trembling aura that erupts from the operating table. He teeters between salvation and annihilation, his blood mixing with coppery dread as he risks losing his humanity forever while clutching the fragile hope of mastering the ultimate technique. The merged black-white aura explodes outward. The hidden master vanishes in a flash of shadow, and the chamber shatters, leaving Zhu Yunwen staring into an abyss that threatens to consume both souls.
You ask for the best, I deliver. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Zhu Yunwen convulses as the first heavenly demon snarls. Huaning's serene chants clash with his own ragged breaths, and his mortal will screams for control. "Call me Heaven Destroyer!" The three voices roar in unison, then explode into profanity-spiked jokes. Amid the chaos, the demonic soul claws at the edge of dominance, its wicked grin promising a war that will reshape the empire. Zhu Yunwen's corpse convulses as the first heavenly demon snarls. Huaning's calm chants clash, and Yunwen's own fury roars, all screaming for the blade within. Amid profanity-splashed curses, they settle on Heaven Destroyer, the provisional moniker that seals their fractured pact. Yet the demonic soul still claws, promising a relentless internal war. Chaos erupts inside as the trio grapples with the storm of thoughts. Simultaneously, it must be extremely chaotic. Distemper will undergo sudden changes. The demon growls, while the Shaolin master tries to steady the tide, asking, "What are we supposing about this?" A sudden flash of the Emperor's sword appears in Yunwen's mind, the ancient blade's name echoing Huangdi Zhijian. The demon, confused, asks, "Pardon? What's your honorific title, my lord?" The question hangs, demanding a name that could unite or destroy them all.
"Name me, then."
The answer will either bind their power or shatter it forever. The demon snarls, "What honorific title? Just call it a name."
The demon plots his next move, eyes flickering with a cold calculation. He wants the host's body finally, but the host's lingering Shaolin spirit and his own fragmented control keep him at bay. He mutters a promise, his voice dripping with menace, and hints at the absurdity of bearing the Zhu name. He clenches his spectral fists, vowing to consume the host whole once the moment arrives. The host feels a surge of dread, realizing the demon's hunger grows with every heartbeat. The tension spikes, and the host's defenses tremble under the looming threat.
However, when the time comes,
the scene shifts to a silent clash of shadows, the three souls thrashing unseen, each vying for dominance. The host's body trembles, muscles tensing, as invisible forces pull him toward darkness and light alike. The demon's rage spikes, trying to seize control, while the Shaolin spirit steadies his breathing, refusing total surrender. The host's mind cracks, splintering into shards of fury and serenity, each fragment sparking raw power that flares through his veins. He clutches his chest, feeling the world tilt, and a single, deafening silence follows the storm.
The host slams the door, forcing the trembling companion to confront the demon, while the Shaolin spirit and the Heaven Destroyer clash inside his mind, tearing reality apart. Zhu Yunwen feels his hope crumble as the demon claws for his soul, yet Huaning's steady breath offers a fragile lifeline, threatening the loss of his very humanity. The host whispers a trembling oath, begging the Shaolin spirit to seal the demon, but darkness swallows his voice, leaving the battle's outcome hanging on a single, shattering breath. Wrap it up and hit the sub button. Manhwa with Hari, out. Zhu Yunwen, reborn as the Heaven Destroyer, crashes into the Northern Blade's frenzied clash, his twin souls blazing through his veins. The first heavenly demon's feral grin snaps the demonic Path King's chains, while Huaning's serene strike shatters the net of heaven and earth chant. Amid steel rains and shouted curses, a lone spirit gasps, recognizing the true martial master and warning that the ensuing betrayal will eclipse the battlefield itself. Zhu Yunwen's twin souls flare as the Northern Blade Association clashed with the Orthodox warriors, steel screaming against blood. Amid the frenzy, a hidden spirit froze, recognizing his martial master aura and whispering, Heaven Destroyer. The battle roars as steel clashes with cursed blades, and a hidden spirit freezes mid-air, recognizing the faint martial master aura radiating from Zhu Yunwen's shattered form. He watches, eyes flickering, as the Northern Blade Association lunges for the 7 demonic Path Kings, while whispers of a net of heaven and earth echo, signaling the Heaven Destroyer's imminent rise from the ruins. The survivors brace themselves. What awaits beyond the shattered net?
dawn spills over the mist-shrouded cliffs as Zhu Yunwen steadies his breath, feeling the twin souls pulse like twin drums within his chest. He raises the ancient imperial sword, its blade humming in harmony with the first heavenly demon's feral grin and Huaning's serene mantra.
He feels the enemy's blade bite his arm, a flash of enhanced sword chi meeting his own amplified strike. He blocked my enhanced. He snarls, blood spattering his lip, anger burning hotter than the cursed fire. The Orthodox captain sneers, blade chi with his enhanced sword chi, you wretch, and launches a second wave that slams into the shattered wall, sending shards of ash flying. The Heaven Destroyer grits his teeth, refusing to yield as the onslaught pushes him toward the edge of the battlefield.
Dawn spills over the ruined shrine as Han Jun grips the imperial sword, its blade humming with dormant fire. Mira looses a trembling arrow, striking the Shadow Sect's scout and exposing a hidden tunnel. Zhu Yunwen, cloaked in ash, steps from the darkness, his eyes blazing with the first heavenly demon's ferocity. He shouts a warning, the demonic Path Kings will not betray their master. The ancient walls tremble, and a surge of raw chi erupts, sealing the entrance behind them.
Zhu Yunwen lunges forward, desperate to reach the trembling spirit that just named him Heaven Destroyer. Zhu Yunwen, reborn as the Heaven Destroyer, charges through the storm-raged arena, his blade igniting the sky as a wraith-like spirit freezes mid-chant, recognizing his true aura. He feels the weight of brotherhood crumble as wounds and shattered promises threaten to sever the bond that once steadied his soul, while the hidden spirit's whisper promises the key to the demonic Path King's weakness. The spirit lingers, eyes blazing, leaving Zhu Yunwen teetering between salvation and annihilation, his desperate reach for its knowledge hanging in the electric air as Orthodox warriors close in.
trust no one. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari to see who turns next.
Our swords shatter the citadel walls. The Emperor's blood thirst fuels the chaos. Zhu Yunwan, reborn as the Heaven Destroyer, storms the arena, eyes blazing with the first heavenly demon's fury. The three Tianshan swordsmen grin, clutching the stolen blades that once sang through his veins. He wants his weapons back, to prove the demonic spirit inside still answers his command. Their taunting riddles block him, daring him to fail. Yunwan lunges, blade humming, and the clash erupts like thunder, scattering sparks across the stone. The swordsmen dodge, but a single strike cracks one guard's armor, exposing a trembling heartbeat.
Our weapons in a flash.
The demon inside snarls, hungry for more than pride. The two remaining foes exchange frantic insults, each trying to outwit the other, while the arena erupts in chaotic shouts. They want to prove their superiority, to watch Yunwan crumble under their mental assault. Their words become knives, cutting at his resolve, while they circle like wolves. Yunwan, eyes blazing, declares he will end them both, his voice a thunderous promise. He thrusts forward, the Heaven Destroyer blade humming, and the swordsman's defenses crumble under the combined weight of heaven and demon. Their bodies collapse, the ground soaking up their blood, and the script on the blade glows crimson, sealing their defeat. The answer is already too late.
Thunder cracks as Zhu Yunwan slams his palm into the shattered altar, forcing the three Tianshan swordsmen to stumble back. He draws the first heavenly demon's inked rune, its violet fire spiraling around his fists. The rune erupts, scattering shards of the Heaven Destroyer scripture across the courtyard. Each fragment ignites, revealing Huaning's serene calligraphy that clashes with the demon's snarling script. Zhu's eyes flare white. He roars, channeling both spirits into a single, devastating shockwave that shatters the thieves' defenses. Han Jun darts through the shattered courtyard, the Emperor's sword humming against his palm as lightning arches from its tip. Lady Mei Lin flanks him, twin daggers whispering death toward Lord Xian's encroaching guards.
The Heaven Destroyer stands triumphant, but the demon's grin hints at a far darker horizon. The reborn Heaven Destroyer lunges into the moonlit courtyard, his blade sparking as the three Tianshan swordsmen jeer, chanting, "Heaven Demon Scribe." Steel erupts, each clash echoing the riddle's rhythm. Suddenly, crimson sigils flare across Yunwan's forearms, and the first heavenly demon's voice roars from within, merging with Huaning's calm chant. The ancient Heaven Destroyer scripture ignites, sealing his fate between celestial light and demonic darkness. Zhu Yunwan lunges as three Tianshan swordsmen snarl, their blades screaming against his reborn emperor's sword. He shatters their stolen steel, the first heavenly demon scripture igniting in his veins, while Huaning's serene chant thrums beneath the chaos. A cold grin spreads across his face as the heaven demon scribe riddles echo, and the twin souls flare, heralding a darker destiny.
Thunder cracks across the shattered courtyard as Zhu Yunwan darts between shattered pillars, his twin souls humming in tandem. He tears a Tianshan blade from the ground, slashes the air, and forces the trio to retreat. Suddenly, Huaning's calm whisper pierces his mind, urging him to channel the first heavenly demon's fury. Zhu roars, the Heaven Destroyer scripture ignites, and the battlefield trembles. Lightning cracks across the cliff as Zhu Yunwan channels the first heavenly demon's fury, his fists igniting with spectral fire. He shatters the stolen swords, scattering shards that scream like tormented souls. The Shaolin echo within him rises, chanting ancient sutras that pulse through his veins.
Zhu Yunwan shatters the stolen Tianshan blades, igniting the first heavenly demon scripture within his veins as the Heaven Destroyer blade sparks against the trio. He feels the surge of demonic power threatening to consume his soul while his monk mentor's calm whispers promise redemption, leaving him torn between absolute destruction and fragile humanity. The trembling trio clutches the screaming shards, their eyes alight with a hidden agenda, as the heavens darken, hinting that the next strike could seal either heaven or demon forever.
A huge secret is about to be uncovered. Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari to be the first to know.
The Heaven Destroyer's blood-soaked purge leaves 6 demonic Path Kings dead, and panic erupts through Purim. The Northern Blade Association and 9 Orthodox Alliance dispatch scouts, their banners snapping in frantic wind. Tang Zhongwu bursts into a smoky tavern, swaggering like a future lord, while a wry waitress, Huaning in disguise, flips a mug, teasing him with sly smiles. All eyes now turn toward the 7th King's looming shadow. Zhu Yunwan, now the Heaven Destroyer, slashes through the last demonic Path King, his blade humming with the first heavenly demon and Huaning's Shaolin mastery. Blood paints Purim streets as the Northern Blade Association and 9 Orthodox Alliance scramble, their scouts trembling at every echo of his name.
The Heaven Destroyer, Zhu Yunwan reborn with the first heavenly demon and Shaolin's 6th patriarch pulsing through his veins, slashes through the 6 fallen demonic Path Kings, their blood painting Purim's alleys crimson. Panic erupts as the Northern Blade Association and 9 Orthodox Alliance scramble, while Tang Zhongwu swagger struts into a tavern, only to be teased by a sly waitress, Huaning in disguise, who tosses him a mocking grin before vanishing into the night. The next clash will decide whether Purim lives or burns. He watches the crowd, knowing the wretch already recognized his face. Panic flares, but disguises feel useless now. He considers slipping into shadows, yet the blood on his blade screams for a statement.
The waitress darts to the bar, shouting, "Here, then please wait a second. I will serve them to you right away." Her voice trembles, keeping the mood light. The Heaven Destroyer merely nods, his aura already drawing every eye. A sudden burst of magical energy crackles nearby, the word Adam humming in the air, hinting at a hidden trap. The waitress freezes, the tray trembling in her grip. The cost. A moment's hesitation could cost her life if the trap detonates.
Here, then please wait a second.
An unseen danger lingers, ready to explode. A strong scent of fermented brew assaults the Heaven Destroyer's nostrils, far harsher than the palace liquors he once tasted. The tavern's door slams as a towering warrior bursts in, breathing fire, proclaiming he never heavenly, a broken oath to the demonic arts he once mastered. He snarls, demons' martial arts would be that powerful. Eyes blazing with forgotten fury, the Heaven Destroyer steps forward, his aura flaring, and meets the warrior's challenge with a thunderstride. Their swords clash, sending sparks that light the room like a storm. The warrior falls, his pride shattered, and the destroyer feels the lingering echo of the first heavenly demon within him. The cost. A new legend spreads, and the 7th king watches, amused.
Demons' martial arts would be that powerful.
The 7th king's smile widens, plotting his next move. The room erupts into a chaotic chorus as the tavern's doors slam shut, trapping everyone inside. The Heaven Destroyer grips his blade, ready to strike anyone who dares approach. Tang, still dripping ale, lunges forward, trying to prove his worth by challenging the destroyer. The monk, now steadier, steps behind the bar, silently chanting a protective mantra. The air crackles with looming steel roar, and a sudden crash silences the tavern's chatter. The cost. A shattered chandelier crashes to the floor, scattering glass like lethal rain, and the hidden messenger disappears into the darkness. What comes next changes everything. Zhu Yunwan, the Heaven Destroyer, tears through the tavern's chaos, brandishing his blade to force the 7th king's secret from the disguised Huaning while the doors slam shut, sealing everyone inside. He feels a surge of liberated power crackle through his veins. Yet the bitter taste of betrayal and the looming threat of the Northern Blade Association tighten around his throat, threatening everything he fights to protect. The masked monk smirks, his eyes flashing with hidden knowledge, and a hulking thug lunges forward, leaving the room trembling on the brink of a deadly showdown that could shatter the fragile balance. This channel isn't for casual viewers. It's for the ones who actually care about the story. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
The hall thrums with restless energy. Sijian steps forward, eyes flicking to the newcomer, and demands a name. Arizona leans against the stone column, arms crossed, his grin hiding a hidden agenda. The crowd murmurs, counting the seconds until the mysterious steps into the circle, the number echoing like a warning. Sijian tightens his grip on his weapon, refusing to let the stranger's silence become an advantage. Arizona watches, calculating how the newcomer might shift the balance of power. The tension spikes as the newcomer finally lifts a hand, ready to speak.
State your purpose, or leave.
The silence that follows could shatter alliances. A fresh challenger slides into the circle, his voice trembling with pride. He claims to be Murong Yung Geology of the Murong clan, eyes darting for validation. He wants his clan's name carved into the league's history, yet the seasoned members eye his shaky confidence as a liability. Their disapproval blocks his entry, so he clutches his weapon tighter, trying to prove worth through aggression. The clang of steel against steel draws a brief gasp, and the council leader gestures him to stand down, preserving order but crushing his hope. He has no idea what's waiting.
Nice to meet you.
The final speaker, a thin-voiced scholar, steps forward, stumbling over his own name.
He admits ignorance, calling himself an amateur of Purim's chaos. A seasoned master watches, eyes narrowing, sensing a fresh pawn. The master replies that curiosity fuels his path, but warns that the world's divisions are deeper than any map. The newcomer's curiosity flares, pushing him to cling to the only knowledge he has, raw observation. He nods, swallowing his doubt, while the council's murmurs grow louder, hinting at unseen forces pulling strings.
You must learn quickly.
The next revelation threatens to upend everything he thought he knew. He whispers that the conflict's roots thicken, his voice trembling with newfound dread. Heaven Destroyer Zhu Yunwen storms into Kaifeng House, his twin souls blazing beneath his skin, and forces the five-clan league to listen. Peng Zhang, whose iron fists crack the air as the Sword Emperor draws his blade, while scholars argue the orthodox demonic schism. A sharp quip about Huaning's legendary grin sparks laughter. Then the hidden agenda of the Northern Blade Association surfaces, threatening Mu Rim's fragile peace. Zhu Yunwen eyes the hunched figure across the table, the first heavenly demon's hunger flickering behind his calm mask. He wants to gauge whether the stranger's skill can tip the balance in the looming faction war. The man's silence and the heavy scent of incense block any quick assessment. A younger disciple, arms crossed, snorts loudly, refusing to accept the elder's vague answer. He points a trembling finger at the heavens, shouting that even the celestial beings know the truth they'd hide from mortals. The elder's calm breaks for a heartbeat. His eyes flash with a fire that belies his age. He steps forward, his robe swirling, and snarls a guttural challenge that reverberates through the stone floor. The disciple's confidence wavers as the elder's presence fills turning the mockery into a silent threat. The onlookers lean in, hungry for the clash of wills about to erupt. The gaunt elder unleashes a blinding aura, shattering the challenger's blade and sending him sprawling to the sand-scarred arena floor, his desperate plea for mercy echoing across the scorching battlefield. The wounded challenger forfeits his pride and a chance at redemption, while the elder's hardened resolve threatens to fracture the fragile code binding the Mu Rim masters, leaving both honor and blood on the line. Zhu Yunwen bursts through the Northern Blade Association's doors, palm pressed to the ancient altar, his eyes burning with unknown purpose, as the Council of Five Clan Lords stare, tension crackling like static. They walked right into his hands. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari to see the trap close. The Heaven Destroyer lunges, his indestructible palm cracking the air as the Northern Blade Association thugs flaunt their bamboo leaf fist and bodhisattva palm. Their smug grins shatter when his strike reverberates like a thunderclap, exposing their bluff. Under a sudden sound transmission command, the squad scrambles, fleeing in chaotic disarray, their pride echoing behind them. Zhu Yunwen, now the Heaven Destroyer, shatters the Northern Blade Association's smug grin with a single, thunderous palm. Their so-called Shaolin mastery crumbles as the sound delivery wave ripples through the alley, forcing the thugs to scramble and flee. Laughter erupts from the onlookers. The battlefield becomes a chaotic comedy, yet every reverberation hints at a martial art waiting to be unearthed. A sneering voice crackles from the shadows, taunting the fallen thugs with a guttural moo. Two masked figures step forward, their silhouettes forming a twisted mirror of the Northern Blade's insignia. They declare they will be ready to die by my hands today, a promise of death to anyone who dares oppose them. Their proclamation blocks any hope of peace, turning the arena into a death match. Yunwen, eyes blazing, unleashes a thunderous bodhisattva palm that erupts like a storm, crushing the intruder's resolve. The masked assailants howl with twisted laughter, their plan to kill unraveling in an instant.
Cool, ha ha ha. That right, kill him.
Their cruel laughter masks a deeper plot that now threatens everything. The commander snarls, fury blazing, and charges with reckless haste, demanding the Heaven Destroyer pay for his arrogance. He wants a decisive blow to prove his dominance. The commander's speed and sheer aggression block the Heaven Destroyer's calm, forcing him to react quicker than ever. He meets the charge head-on, his palm humming with hidden resonance, and releases a high-pitched scream that rattles bones. The sound erupts, crushing the commander's ears, sending him sprawling, clutching his head in agony. The commander's men freeze, their morale splintering as their leader crumbles. The arena trembles, waiting for the next wave. What comes next changes everything. A second wave of thugs rushes forward, their spears flashing, intent on avenging their fallen leader. The final thug, bloodied and enraged, screams, "Elike!" then lunges with a desperate retch, hoping sheer hatred will break the Heaven Destroyer's focus. His fury blocks the hero's calm, turning the clash into a frantic scramble. The Heaven Destroyer steadies his breathing, lets the sound delivery technique flare into a deafening roar, and the rogue's body erupts in a burst of shattered bone and echoing silence. The arena watches the corpse collapse, the last echo of his hatred hanging in the air.
Wretch!
The silence settles, but the unseen watcher tightens its grip on the darkness. The Heaven Destroyer squares up as the Northern Blade thugs form a tight circle, each brandishing a different Shaolin pose. The Heaven Destroyer watches the fleeing men, a low growl escaping his throat. "Cursed," he mutters, the words barely a whisper against the echo of his own power. A flash of doubt flickers. Did he push his sound technique too far? He clenches his fist, feeling the reverberation still humming through his bones. The realization settles. His strike has scarred more than flesh. It has cracked the thin veneer of the thug's confidence. He steadies his breath, aware that each surge draws him closer to the darkness humming within. A battered thug, clutching his wounded ear, raises a trembling hand and asks, "Overdo it?" The question hangs heavy, a thin thread of fear tugging at the destroyer's resolve. The Heaven Destroyer unleashes a resonant sound pulse, shattering the thug's formation as their leader whispers a desperate command, forcing every law enforcement member to retreat in stunned silence. The destroyer wrestles with accursed doubt, feeling his power slip while the fleeing thugs clutch lingering fear, and the leader clings to a single, perilous chance for survival. A haunting question lingers. Will the secret pact amplify the sound pulse's ruinous cost, or will the hidden enemy exploit the destroyer's wavering resolve as darkness gathers beyond the courtyard? You made it to the end. That means everything. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and I'll see you next chapter. The Emperor's blade splinters, and blood drenches the neutrality pavilion. Mixby staggers into the shattered hall, eyes burning with a need to prove his claim. He wants the crowd to recognize his right to the sword, but the lingering echo of the blade's roar still rattles everyone's nerves. He slams his fists on the scarred table, forcing silence, while the youths glance away, unsure whether to bow or flee. The room freezes, their resentment hanging like a blade's edge. Mixby's voice cracks the tension, demanding respect, yet the air still trembles with doubt.
The Emperor's sword shattered, Empire's blood spills now.
The crowd's silence hides a storm waiting to break. Zhu Yunwan, reborn as the Heaven Destroyer, slams his porcelain cup onto the neutrality pavilion table, silencing the snickering lords. "I bear the first heavenly demon and Huaning soul. My truth cannot be masked," he roars, the Emperor's sword humming against his back. The banquet erupts into drunken jeers, yet every glance now trembles at the yin-yang technique thrumming within him. Manwa with Hari, the answer is already too late.
Miare darts through the banquet hall, slipping a lacquered cup beneath Lord Quan's elbow before the clink draws everyone's gaze. She whispers the yin-yang cultivation secret to Yong-hun, his eyes flashing as the first heavenly demon's fury stirs within.
The Heaven Destroyer swallows his pride and begs forgiveness for the accidental deception that has tangled his reputation. He needs the sect's trust to keep his secret safe. The Elder's cold stare, however, treats his apology as a thin veil over a deeper betrayal. He bows lower, voice trembling, and offers a hollow promise of honesty. The Master's reply cuts like a blade, warning that any blessing for the Orthodox sects comes with a price they must now pay. The tension spikes, and the cup trembles in the Master's hand.
Anyway, I would greatly appreciate it if you can forgive me for unintentionally deceiving you. That absurd.
He mutters that he seeks a quiet life, but the world pushes him toward greatness, a truth he cannot deny. The senior monk chuckles, reminding him that strength invites conflict. Gratitude flickers as he promises repayment for the aid received, sealing a pact of loyalty. The exchange solidifies his resolve, yet the debt hangs heavy, a chain he cannot yet see. As the night deepens, the promise becomes a silent weight on his shoulders.
I owe you a drink.
The next sunrise may demand a price far higher than a simple toast. The Heaven Destroyer grips the banquet table, eyes flicking to the old monk's portrait. Yong-hun erupts, hurling the Emperor's sword across the banquet table, its humming blade slicing the air as he declares the first heavenly demon soul is bound to his will. The Heaven Destroyer's fragile veneer cracks, his desperate plea for quiet life shattered by the crowd's accusation, leaving his honor hanging by a thread and his resolve igniting into raw fury. He storms toward the doorway, chair clattering, while the nobles stare, a looming challenge whispering that the true battle for Huaning's legacy has only just begun.
Are you a casual reader or a true fan? Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari to make it official.